Alastair Newton is a senior political analyst at Nomura and also the president of the British Society for Middle Eastern Studies. He joins me now to talk about the situation. Welcome, Alastair. Are we any closer to a presidential resignation? It would appear that President Mubarak is not planning to go.
No. From what he said on a television interview with ABC last night, that certainly appears to be the case. And I suspect very strongly that stories being carried in the UK press, at least this morning, that the US is talking to the Egyptians about an immediate exit strategy for President Mubarak may be slightly overstated. There no doubt is a dialogue going on, but at what level isn't clear. And furthermore, I have to say that it isn't actually clear that US pressure in that direction is necessarily going to achieve the result which, from what we've heard Barack Obama say publicly, the US does appear to be looking for. It's very hard to say how much longer this is going to drag on. I think there are a lot of reservations about President Mubarak's claim that if he goes, the situation will be even more chaotic. But the pressure at the moment on him, he seems to be resisting hard, but it could snap at any moment.
Now, we've got the protesters who have now been protesting for sort of 10 days. At what point, how long can they remain in Tahrir Square? I mean, a lot of these people actually need at some point to go back to work, to earn some money. Banks are closed, shops are closed. How long can this sort of stalemate go on?
I think the answer to that is probably for a very long time yet. I'm cautious about drawing too many parallels between Tunisia and Egypt because both have their own unique and special circumstances. But I do think there is common ground in that the resistance of the Ben Ali regime in Tunis, the continuing violence on the streets, it actually inflamed the anger of the protesters and made them even more determined to achieve their objective of an early ouster. And I do think we've seen real signs of that on the streets of Cairo in particular, but also more widely in Egypt this week. Friday, of course, big day, day of prayers. I would expect there to be very large demonstrations later on today. There may well be counter-demonstrations again. My sense is that that's only going to make those supporting an immediate ouster all the more determined to achieve their objective.
Alastair, we're seeing live pictures at the moment in the square. It's absolutely packed with people, although they are very peaceful at the moment. I suppose we're not very clear, are we, exactly who the opposition, who is leading the opposition to Mubarak and how fractured that opposition is?
I think what we've seen in the last few days is indicative of a broadening base of opposition to him. Initially, there is no doubt in our mind at all that these demonstrations were pretty spontaneous, urban middle class, not driven at all by the Muslim Brotherhood, contrary to the claims of Mr. Mubarak at the time. Now, it is absolutely clear from the pictures which you're showing that there are more and more people involved in these demonstrations now who are pious, practicing Muslims, and of course from the statements we're hearing from Mohammed el-Baradei and others, it is clear that there is much more of a united front among secular opponents of the regime and supporters of the Muslim Brotherhood now than was the case at the beginning of these demonstrations.
Alastair, thank you very much indeed.